Hey, Frank Harris here. This is part three. I'm with Geoff Young. We're going to be talking about the debacle of the Democratic Party's Iowa caucuses. And so, Geoff, you are a recently converted Democrat, just joined the Republican Party within the last year.
Yeah, last July.
And so you can probably speak more to this issue. What I saw in 2016 and what came out publicly was that the Democratic Party conspired to prevent Bernie from rising up and getting the nomination. Would you say that is true?
Well, sure. The Hillary Clinton campaign.
Bless you.
And the mainstream media and the DNC were all interested in seeing Clinton become president. And Bernie was a huge threat to them. I think the reason he represents such a threat to the Democratic Party is that they fear that if he becomes president, their donations will dry up. They're getting a lot of their money from billionaires, from oligarchs.
Oh.
Billionaires don't like Bernie because he keeps...
Yeah, he's going to steal everything they have.
He keeps talking, about how billionaires are all the damage they do to our economy and to our politics, to our political... He doesn't believe that billionaires should run our political system. They already run the economy to an extent. They dominate it. But he doesn't think they should run the political system also. He has an objection to that. And so Democrats are terrified. They would rather see Trump win another term than to see Bernie become the Democrat nominee and possibly win the general election.
Yeah, it's interesting. We saw when I was a Republican in 2008 and 2012, we saw the Republican Party do everything they could possibly do to discredit Ron Paul. And it was shameful. There were times when Fox News would have a poll after the debates. Ron Paul would win or come in second in almost every poll, and then Fox would do everything they could to either pretend that Ron Paul hadn't won it. They even discounted their own poll one time. They said, "Well, you can't trust polls," and it was the Fox News poll they were discrediting. So
I remember one caucus or primary with Ron Paul in it, where they reported the second and third place
and ignored the first place result.
Yeah,
because it was Ron Paul.
Right.
They did that several times. It was laughable. It was completely laughable.
Yep.
So
the Democrats are doing the same thing again this year. I mean, it didn't work in 2016. Drove thousands of Democrats to stay home on election day in swing states, and it cost her the election. And I think she was such a warlike candidate that I'm happy she lost. But
do you think what was the major reason you think that Hillary lost? This is kind of a side note to the whole thing. Why do you think Hillary lost to Trump? Because Trump was hated so much.
Yeah. I think she was hated.
She was hated even more.
Even more. Yeah. Her negatives were just huge.
Okay. So getting back to the Iowa caucuses. So what happened was sometime toward the end of the voting, they had just started to have returns, and Bernie was in the lead or close to the lead.
Yeah.
And they just suddenly I guess they went dark, right? There were no results to be had. And so do you think that that it was truly a software error? I don't, as a former programmer, I discount that notion. Because software doesn't just suddenly change and go bad. So I don't think that's legit. I just don't. And then, so the Democrats claim that it was a software error, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if it wasn't something deliberate to prevent Bernie from winning the caucuses. What do you think? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. The winner, Pete Buttigieg, however you say it,
yeah,
is connected with the CIA. He's getting donations from a lot of billionaires, and I would say that he's not even a real. I don't think he's a real candidate. He's kind of like manufactured by the CIA. And if you want the CIA to run the entire country, vote for him.
Well, and see, I'm not as astute on this issue as you are, so I didn't know anything at all about that. That's certainly interesting. Do you see a clear front runner on the Democratic side, and who do you think the front runner will end up being?
I don't even know. I think Bernie is the most popular politician in the United States at this time, and I have no idea if they'll rig it again, and if I have no way to predict that. Sorry.
In an anecdotal way, I run into people all the time as an Uber driver, and just talking to people on Facebook who are Bernie supporters. There are a huge number of people who support Bernie. And I believe Bernie is a force to be reckoned with in the political world right now. But the thing that amazes me is that Bernie is getting up there in years,
right?
And yet he still commands this support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he's been consistent over the decades.
Yeah, he has. Now, as a libertarian, I disagree almost 100% with everything he says about economic policy.
Okay.
And I hope to God that he doesn't win the election, or that Elizabeth Warren doesn't win the election. I fear Elizabeth Warren more because she seems she seems very angry and very determined to implement her policies, where Bernie's getting up there in years, and I don't see him living through more than one term if he won. But either way, I think it would be bad news for America if either one of those two won their elections.
Okay, well, my favorite candidate is U.S. Representative Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii.
I like Tulsi.
She's the strongest pro-peace candidate that I see running for president by far. Much better than Bernie on that issue. But I don't think she's in the running really in terms of media attention and all that. So I'm pessimistic that she'll be able to come back and pull it off. But things happen. And anyway, for me, Bernie is the second best. I would certainly vote for him if he's the nominee.
So
my former party.
We don't really know what happened in Iowa, and we will probably never know what happened in Iowa.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll know until the next primary, when we see how the Democrats treat Bernie, to see if they continue to mistreat Bernie, and ignore him. And that's my prediction. I predict that they will ignore him.
They'll try.
They're going to try. I don't think you can ignore Bernie. I think Bernie is a force to be reckoned with, and that he's likely to win many of the upcoming states. So when they get up into the Super Tuesday, when they're up in New England, Bernie's probably going to carry New England, is he not?
I don't see why not. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else you want to add, or can we close this segment?
Well, yeah. It's just strange to see a whole political party committing suicide. I think that's what the Democrat Party is doing right now. They're destroying themselves. They've got a candidate who could probably beat Trump, and they couldn't be less interested. They don't care. Check.
It is sad. It really is. All right. Well, Geoff has gotten me in check, and we'll start the next segment before I make my next move. Thank you.